At kasama rin natin ngayong gabi ang isa sa ating mga suki na si UP Political Science Professor Ranjit Rai ng Okta Research. Siyempre, familiar tong pangalan na to dahil nung pandemya, laging nakikita po ninyo ang mga taga-Okta. Mga kapatid, good evening. Prof.
Hi, Prof.
Yeah, good evening sa inyo ladies. Good evening sa ating mga nanonood at nakikinig sa station natin, sa show natin. Thank you for inviting us.
And thank you din, Prof. Happy New Year sa inyo. Prof,
Happy New Year.
Kung hindi po ako nagkakamali, ay nagkaroon po ang latest survey po ng Okta, itong on poverty, self-rated poverty, food poverty, and hunger. Tama po ba?
Tama. Yeah.
Okay. Prof, ano po yung mga highlights ng ating naging survey or results ng ating survey na ito, Prof?
Okay, so nagsagawa ang Okta. Every quarter naman nagsasagawa tayo ng study on self-rated hunger at saka self-rated poverty. So, ano ba yung latest findings natin? Makasaysayan ho yung pagbaba ng self-rated poverty po. Bumagsak ho yung self-rated poverty natin from quarter 3 to quarter 4, which is just a few months, no? 3 months, no? Just a background lang, survey nito nationwide, December 3 to 11, ginawa noong 2025. At ito yung report ng fourth quarter. Ang bumabaho yung self-rated poverty natin, tinatanong natin yung anong estado ng kahirapan ng bawat pamilya, no? Ang bumabaho siya, historic ko, pinakamalaking pagbaba in a quarter sa Okta studies ho, 17% ho in one quarter, largest decline ever recorded sa amin series. That's around 5 million families who no longer consider themselves poor. So kwento ko lang ha. So sa ating bansa, based on our own population, we have an estimated 27 million families. Okay. Now in Q3 of 2025, 50% po ang nagsasabing mahirap sila. More than 50% ang nagsasabing ang estado ng buhay nila mas mahirap sila than the last quarter. Pero ngayon sa bagong study, less than 50%, a little over 30% na lang po nagsasabi na mahirap sila. 17 percentage points drop. Parang nag-minus 5 million. If the estimate is correct, around 14 million ang nagsabi na poor sila ng Q3, ngayon 9 million na lang. So malaki yung change kasi perception yan eh. Yan ay pananaw ng ating mga kababayan about themselves. So hindi lang to ingay, it's not just noise, it's a real change in household economic perception. Now if that's not impressive, yung food security, ito pinag-uusapan dito hindi kagutuman, pero yung kalidad ng kinakain natin, yung quantity ng kinakain natin. Tinatanong natin yung ating mga kababayan about this. Yun nga, mas malaki pa hong binagsak, hindi lang 17%, pero 19%. That's roughly a little over 5 million families felt better able to meet their food needs. So, malaki ho ang pagbabago, no, from Q3. And so, yun, self-rated poverty at saka self-rated food poverty ay nag-improve ho drastically. Pero ho, yung kagutuman ay tumaas rin po, bahagya, no? 5 percentage points. So, ano siya, although maliit lang siya, significant pa rin siya sa amin sa Okta. Kasi nga, may na-experience na spike ho sa kagutuman in places largely affected by weather disturbances. Kasi nung last quarter natin, medyo marami tayong bagyong tumama. So, yung mga areas na sinurvey namin, may short-term na problems or access of food. Kaya medyo in those areas tumaas yung kagutuman. Doon sa National Capital Region, naka-experience rin tayo ng konting spike sa kagutuman. Ang tingin namin doon, maraming factors yun. Hindi lang yung weather disturbance, nandiyan rin yung mga food prices na nag-escalate nung Christmas. So on the whole, yung picture ho is yung perception that everything is getting worse or everything is getting better, hindi siya yung it seems like the economy improved for many, but hindi nga siya even. At may mga lugar pa rin sa ating bansa na iiwan kasi nakaka-experience pa rin sila ng kagutuman. So the TNM Q4 survey tells us that poverty fell at very historic space. No, food security really improved. But hunger reminds us that many Filipinos are still living close to the edge. And so it's really not just to inform our kababayans, but also to inform government na very fragile yung improvement na to, but it's still significant.
Okay, so Prof, bilang kayo po ay poli-sci professor po, syempre, tanungin namin po kayo ng politika-related questions. Kahapon, napag-usapan namin ni Mase kanina, no, na kahapon nga, lumabas tong first impeachment complaint laban kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Una po, ano po yung reaction po ninyo dito?
Well, I have yet to really study the impeachment complaint, but what I got from friends all over the political spectrum, basically summary of the complaint, mukhang hindi naman siya substantial na complaint. Mukhang doon pa lang sa pag-file baka mamatay na kaagad, no? Kasi alam mo ang impeachment lalo sa Pilipinas, hindi naman din tungkol sa substance at how should we say this, hindi siya really about the substantive issues, but more it's a political exercise. Kaya nga sabi nga ni Senator Amy, parang drama daw yung impeachment, no? And so mukhang in the case of the president, it isn't really a substantial complaint. It seems like mas substantial in substance and form, mas maayos yung complaint against the vice president. So yun yung nakikita ko at least, no, na perspective, no. Yung impeachment kasi depende yan sa dynamics ng House. Right now, medyo although mas mahina at mas maliit yung coalition ng presidente, sila pa rin ang nasa mayorya. Pangalawa, mas mahirap na ngayon mag-impeach ng public official dahil sa Supreme Court additions dun sa procedure, no? So medyo mataas yung procedural requirement para ma-impeach. At hindi lang yun, pati political hurdle rin kasi syempre, lalo in the case of the president, malakas pa yung kanyang coalition dyan.
Yes.
So in both cases actually, it's also hard kasi ang alam ng maraming mga politicians, malapit na 2028, VP is leading in the survey, di ba?
Yeah.
So ang sinasabi natin dito, although it's probable na may mapasa yung impeachment, possible siya pero hindi siya probable.
Prof, sabi mo kanina hindi ganun ka-substantial. Yung laman noong impeachment laban kay PBBM, does it mean na merong basehan yung sinasabi nung iba na, teka lang, baka minadali ito para lang dun sa 1-year bar rule
There's always that possibility, no? Pero may maghahabol pa ng impeachment.
Oo nga, may hahabol.
So, tingnan natin kung ano yung abangan natin, no? Yung susunod na kabanata. Impeachment is less a legal question here in the Philippines. It's really a political arithmetic challenge.
Pero ano yung nakikita po natin na implikasyon nito? Kasi bukod kay PBBM, meron ding sinasabi na susunod si VP Sara may impeachment din na ipafile.
Yun, mas alam natin yun kasi nga mukhang civil society initiative siya at malaki rin yung may support rin siya sa House, pero hindi natin alam kung kaano kalaki yung support na yon. And of course we also got a preview of it last year, so mas substantial in the case of VP Sara kasi na-establish na yung mga kaso against her. Yun nga lang, yung procedural hurdle na sinet ng requirements, no, is now a hurdle for impeachment na sinet ng ating Supreme Court when they ruled regarding the impeachment complaint in 2025. So, ang ibig sabihin lang, nandiyan pa rin yung impeachment, may mga willing and supportive na congressmen in particular, pero mas mahirap na ngayon mag-impeach ng isang opisyal kasi nga ang taas ng requirement sinet ng Supreme Court. Hindi na ganun kadali. Pangalawa, yung political environment nga, iba na ngayon eh. Iba na rin yung speaker, iba na rin yung so-called majority na andyan sa House, hindi na siya kasing solid ng kagaya ng dati. Tapos hindi rin natin alam sa Senado, and it's likely na hindi, parang walang appetite yung Senado eh. It's a different kind of Senate now. Yung majority niya is just a majority of a few senators. Yung minority is a large minority, 9 members. So, any shift, any political turbulence or noise can shift yung majority na yan eh. And the issue of VP Sara's impeachment is a sensitive issue for many of senators. So baka it's so much harder now to pass to push impeachment. Yun lang sinasabi ko. It's possible, but in my view, it's right now, given the math, the alignments, it's not probable.
Yeah, so Prof, given yung mga factors na sinabi nyo, yung appetite sa Senado, not really there, iba na yung leadership sa House, etc., no? Sa tingin po ninyo, ay dapat pa bang ituloy itong mga impeachment na ito or better na lang to focus on more pressing concerns po?
I think everybody's thinking that way. But you can't stop it. If somebody files, there's a process for there's a process, okay, that has to be followed, and in both cases, it's I mean, in the case of the Marcos administration, President Marcos impeachment, mukhang there is a stronger majority in place against it. In the case of Sara Duterte, at least in the House, medyo that will go through the standard process that is already established in the House. What am I saying? I'm basically saying mukhang hindi matutuloy yung sa hindi malakas no yung push para sa impeachment ng presidente natin, pero doon sa vice president meron. Now, we don't know kung papasa sa House yan given all the procedural requirements needed. And even if it passes the House, hindi natin alam kung the Senate will take it up, no? Or will have the majorities to push an impeachment forward. Now, the common sentiment of everyone is this is divisive for the country, it's not the right time. Pag-usapan na lang natin yung economy, how we can help the poor and the powerless in our society instead of this kind of political noise. On the other hand, there is the real issue of accountability, which civil society organizations who are pushing, by the way, very strongly the impeachment of the Vice President are basically articulating.
Pero sinasabi mo nga, Prof, mukhang malabo naman na maging successful yung impeachment kay PBBM at least sa level ng House. Pero sa kanila, sila naman pala talaga yung magpupush niyan, no? Para maging successful.
Yung dynamics ng House yan eh. Pero talaga, mukhang hindi eh.
Oo. Pero if that's the case, gaano kalaki yung epekto nito sa popularidad ng Pangulo? And is it still important to maintain his popularity as the president? And number 2, kung magtutuloy-tuloy na naman tong impeachment kay Vice President Sara Duterte, paano to makakaapekto sa popularity niya? Especially now na siya naman talaga yung inaay ng opposition para sa 2028.
Yeah, I think in a sense, you're correct in framing it that you see VP Sara will get hit more because of this impeachment complaint than the president who's not running anymore. It seems clear the president's not here to be popular anymore. He just wants to do the right thing. He wants to leave a legacy. Nasa legacy mode na siya. There was an attempt to oust him, a serious one, last quarter. It didn't work. And that has given him some confidence. And, all of these things, the survey results on self-rated poverty, basically, in a sense, affirms that some of these programs are actually working. Moving forward, the president is, this will have less impact on the president and really more on VP Sara because she's now the front runner in surveys. She has, the bailiwicks in her hand. No, she's in a very good position to, or she's in the front runner position in as far as the 2028 elections are concerned. But all this will change once the impeachment case is filed. the case is heard in the Senate, a lot of information can come out. We don't know what that information will be, and most likely it will be damaging to her. It will reduce trust and support for her. So, as I was saying, it will have a bigger, more negative impact on the Vice President.
Hey, nako, interesting days ahead.
Oo.
Yeah.
Maraming salamat po, Prof. And Happy New Year po muli sa'yo. Suki natin, UP Poli-Sci Professor Ranjit Rai.
Salamat, Prof.
Thank you. Happy New Year sa atin lahat.
Opo.